You probably know the equation. Even if you cannot say exactly what it means, you would definitely recognize it among many other equations, since it's been printed on countless t-shirts and posters, shown in series and films. It's ubiquitous in pop culture. Meanwhile, it's one of the most important equations in human history, as it has completely changed our understanding of the universe. Welcome to Personality Matters. I'm Arthur Camps, and today we will be talking about Albert Einstein. Einstein was born on March 14, 1879 in Germany, into a secular Jewish family. At a young age, Einstein had a speech problem. He was slow to learn to talk. Supposedly, he didn't start speaking until at least the age of 3, which seriously worried his parents, who thought their son backward in development. However, when he started school, he proved himself to be a creative thinker and a good problem solver. Even though he did okay at school, he was really disgusted with the strict and disciplined style of teachers. Spoiler alert, not everybody who hates school turns out to be genius. At the age of 15, he dropped out in order to enter a polytechnic school in Zurich. He failed the first attempt, but continued studying and was successfully admitted the following year. By many of his teachers, Einstein was considered a clever student, but they thought he was too self-conceited and narcissistic, which cost him dearly later on. In the Polytechnic, he met his future wife, a 20-year-old Serbian woman, Mileva Maric, who, by the way, was the only woman in her group. After graduation in 1900, Einstein had a hard time looking for a job. Due to the tense relationship he'd always had with professors, he didn't get any letters of recommendation that could have helped him find a good job. So, after 2 years of frustrating search, he finally landed a job as a patent clerk. How lucky we are to have LinkedIn! 1905. This year is seen as a crucially important year for Einstein, because he published some of his main theoretical papers. 2 dealt with the photoelectric effect and Brownian movement. 2 others focused on the special theory of relativity and briefly touched upon the famous E equals MC2. So, all the theoretical research he published that year was a turning point in his career. He was soon recognized as a leading scientist and was appointed lecturer at University of Bern. And then, later on in 1921, he won the Nobel Prize for Physics for his explanation of the photoelectric effect. In the 1930s, already a widely known scientist, Einstein had to leave Germany. He was a long-time pacifist, plus he was of a Jewish origin, so he quickly became a target of hostility. Eventually, he decided to immigrate to the United States. He would never again return to the country of his birth. In the States, he started a new life and was soon appointed professor at the newly founded Institute for Advanced Studies in Princeton. Einstein felt he was deeply connected to his Jewish heritage and fought against anti-Semitism all his life. At one point, he was even offered the post of the president in the newly founded country Israel, but he politely turned down the offer, as he was already a 73-year-old man. It's a pity some of the modern politicians lack his awareness. Maybe not only that. Well, for most non-scientific people, Einstein is first of all identified with the special theory of relativity and the famous equation E equals MC2. But that's not the full list of his major scientific discoveries. For instance, he came up with the explanation of the Brownian movement, or zigzag motion of microscopic particles in suspension. This discovery proved the existence of atoms and molecules. Einstein received the Nobel Prize for his quantum theory of light. He suggested that light is composed of separate packets of energy, called photons, that have some properties of particles and some properties of waves. He also explained the photoelectric effect, which is the emission of electrons from some solids when they're struck by light. In fact, television is the practical application of Einstein's theory of light. Another huge scientific discovery we've already mentioned was the special theory of relativity. Einstein explained that time and motion are relative to their observer as long as the speed of light remains constant and the natural laws are the same throughout the universe. If you didn't get what I said, just rewind it several times. And of course the famous equation we started with, E equals mc², the link between mass and energy. The formula demonstrates that a small part of matter contains an enormous amount of energy. On the most basic level, the equation says that energy and mass are interchangeable. They are different forms of the same thing. Under the right conditions, energy can become mass and vice versa. We humans don't see them that way. How can a beam of light and walnut, say, be different forms of the same thing? But nature does. This forms much of the basis for nuclear energy. Like many other geniuses, Einstein was a rather peculiar person, who didn't wear socks or who gave his wife the money he received for Nobel Prize as a part of their divorce settlement. The interesting thing is that he promised money he didn't even have yet, but he was extremely confident he would win the prize. You see how important it is to be confident in yourself. You can always promise things you don't have. What about this famous photo when Einstein sticks out his tongue? Do you know that in fact it looks like that? So that is Albert Einstein who once said, there are only two ways to live your life. One is though nothing is a miracle, the other is though everything is a miracle. Thank you for watching Personality Matters. We talk about people who made the world. Until next time, I'm Arthur Camps.